Hello, everyone. I'm just getting prepped up here for this live. Just going to add my banner so you can see I am everydayplantbased.com. And this is a cooking demo I do Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Eastern Time in my kitchen here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I do these to try to get the message across that it's easy to cook plant-based. It's not anything very complicated, because sometimes when people first go plant-based, they don't know what to cook. They get a little bit lost, a little bit overwhelmed. You go to the grocery store and say, all right, I have to avoid that aisle, and I'm not going down that aisle. Can't look at the dairy case. So what is it I'm gonna fix? So I'm just, let's see, I want to get back to the comments. Hi Anita, glad to see you here. I'm gonna make a soup today because it's really cold here. We woke up this morning, it was 17 degrees. That's pretty cold for North Carolina, unseasonably chilly. So it's a really good day to make soup. So I'm all set up. I've got my soup pot on my burner. I've already prepped the ingredients, so I'll just show you. There's half an onion I cut up. I actually cut up 3 cloves of garlic because I like garlic, so I made an extra one, but the recipe calls for 2. I have a can of cannellini beans, which I drained and rinsed a little bit. I have some veggie broth. Actually, I'm going to start that right now. Because the soup ingredients do need to cook for a few minutes, and the hotter that broth is, the quicker that'll happen. So I also diced up. I'm gonna add my other camera now. I diced up a couple of sweet potatoes, which you can see I made fairly small dice so that it would cook faster. Let me get rid of that. There, that little banner. Okay, so we'll get going, and then I'm going to make a little topping for the soup, a garnish, while it's cooking, so we'll see. So first thing I'm going to do is saute the onion and garlic. I'm going to do it without oil. I might need to add a little bit of broth. I try to cook without oil. So if anybody is watching and has questions or comments, please speak up or just type it in the chat. Actually, today I'm also live on YouTube. I pulled a little broth out of the pot in case I need to add a little bit here. Let me get a spatula. This kitchen is great for doing these demos because everything is within reach. Hold on, I want to turn down. I'm getting a little bit of feedback on my phone. Okay. All right, while this is cooking, I'm going to add a little bit of broth. I need to connect my phone again. There it is. Okay, let me just put it back in the holder. And I was going to try to turn down the sound. Technology and I, there's a learning curve here. So right now we're just sauteing up this onion and garlic a little bit. I've got the broth on the stove heating up. Once the onions are soft, then we'll add everything else, including some seasonings. So this is a soup that the way I'm making it, I'm just going to add some salt and pepper and cayenne. You can also make sort of a curry style soup. You add some curry powder, maybe a little cinnamon, um, some of those more Middle Eastern spices. It makes a very good soup that way too. But it is going to be a nice warm soup for a cold day. Um, so the steam is coming up and hitting the camera. Which is going to make that a little bit cloudy. So I see Anita is watching, and I know that she's from Las Vegas. Have you got really cold weather there? I know it kind of it's hitting the Midwest. Extreme. It's gotten quite extreme in the Midwest. Also, since this is on YouTube, I have my tablet open, and I thought I would see what it looks like on YouTube. I'm just curious. Well, I don't know how to get it. Maybe I have to refresh the screen. Oh, there it is. I can see myself on YouTube. Okay. That's sort of meta for me. That's a little too meta. It's bad enough watching myself, as I'm streaming here. Okay, so the onions and garlic look like they're pretty well done. I'm going to add the other ingredients. So I have all these sweet potatoes. This was 2 kind of biggish sweet potatoes, about this size. And I diced it up pretty small. I'm just going to drain them here. They've been, I put them in some water to keep them from drying out. But I'll show you what they look like. So here's the sweet potatoes going into the pot. And also what goes into the pot is the can of cannellini beans. And then the broth. So I used, organic vegetable broth. I sometimes make my own broth, but just for purposes of this demonstration, I thought I'd just show you use a quart of the broth. Let me get the broth that's heated off the stove. I'm going to add that in. That pretty much fills up the pot. I'm still getting some feedback on this phone. I know there's a way to fix that. I'll have to research that later. Okay, the other things we're going to add are some pepper and some salt. Very simple. The recipe says a teaspoon of black pepper, which is what this is. And it calls for half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I like the heat. If you don't like so much heat, you can cut back on the cayenne or skip it entirely, because we are putting in the black pepper. And it calls for a teaspoon of salt. The broth is not a low sodium broth. In fact, it's fairly high in sodium. I'm going to just use half a teaspoon. You can always add salt later. Actually, I'm going to use about a third of a teaspoon. You can always add salt later. Okay. Now this is going to have to boil for a few minutes, so I'm actually going to move it to my stove behind me. All right. put the lid on. Okay, so while that's cooking, I thought I'd talk a little bit about making sort of a garnish for this soup. Of course, it's not necessary. It's going to be perfectly delicious on its own. But we can, since we have a little bit of time, we can make a garnish. And what I like, a garnish I like to make is a spicy pepitas. Pepitas are just pumpkin seeds. So I happen to have some pumpkin seeds. You can see kind. They are really, really good. It's easy just to kind of eat them right out of the container. These are already roasted. So what I'm going to do is just add some spice and things to them while we're waiting. Again, you could just sprinkle these in as, as you like. You could also put in some croutons would be good in this soup. I found some good croutons. Here, I'll show you. Since we have some time, I found my store, which is called Harris Teeter, has this brand called Simply, you can see it, Simple Truth Organic. These seasoned croutons have garlic, onion, and parsley. These would be good in this soup. One thing I really like about them is they are very, I don't want to say no oil, because a serving has a gram of fat and there is oil listed, but it's very minimal oil. And of course they are plant-based. Yeah. Okay, so those would be good in the soup. So I thought I'd just do some seasoned pepitas. What I'm going to do is put a couple tablespoons on, I have a little nonstick pan, because again, I don't want to use any oil. All right, let me think a second. I want to get a measure for the pepitas. I'm just going to take a 1/4 cup. I'm going to heat up this pan, not super hot. Put the pepitas down. One thing I want to do is sprinkle some lime juice on top. And then also some seasoning. Nita says it's 50 degrees where she is in Las Vegas. That sounds pretty good. So anybody else who's watching, just tell me in the comments where you're from, and is it cold where you are? Is it soup weather where you are? So I just sprinkled some lime juice over these pepitas. I'm now also going to add a couple things. I mean, you can use whatever you like for these. I'm going to use a little bit of garlic powder. That was maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon, probably not even that. I'm going to use a little bit of oregano. You could use any kind of herbs or spices. These just add some flavor. I want to check on the soup and make sure it's starting to boil. So that's good. Okay, so you know what else is good to make these really spicy is a tiny bit of cayenne. Just a tiny bit. Too much cayenne can kind of ruin things. Okay, so those are spicy pepitas. Now, I went to the store this morning and was looking for pepitas. I really wanted to buy some more, but I couldn't. The only ones I found were already spicy. It was a package, not a very good package, maybe half the size of this. So it's probably 2 ounces. And they were $6. I thought that's a lot. So it's really easy to make spicy ones yourself. Hey, Gina. Nice to see you. Thanks for watching. I haven't seen you in ages. Whoops. I gotta pay attention here. These are going to burn. Yeah, I'm just going to try to stir these around a little bit until the lime juice kind of evaporates and they look dry. And then they'll be done. So when they're roasted, when you buy them roasted like this, let me look at the ingredients. You can find them. They do have, they are roasted. They roast them with some oil. If you find raw pepitas, you can just roast them the same way I'm doing here without oil if you have a nice nonstick pan. But I wasn't able to find those. I found an entire shelf, a huge big display of pistachio nuts, and those would be good too as a garnish. The other thing I'm going to do in this soup is I'm going to drizzle some yogurt. So it's possible to buy plant-based yogurt. I'm not crazy about it because it tends to be basically a plant-based milk with some sort of something to make it gel. It's hard to get a yogurt with that tangy flavor that you get from milk, cow's milk yogurt. Kite Hill makes a pretty good Greek yogurt. I like their yogurt a lot. It's expensive. Are you getting the feeling I'm sort of a budget shopper? I mean, if I ever see Kite Hill yogurt, I'll buy it because most stores don't carry it. So when I see it, I'll buy it. But what I do is I make my own yogurt. I think I've talked about that before in these lives. I make my own soy milk. I make soy milk using soybeans. I make it in the Instant Pot. You soak the beans for a day, then you put them in the Instant Pot overnight with the probiotic. And in the morning, you have this wonderful yogurt, which I'll show you. It's not a gelled pudding yogurt. It's more like a drink yogurt, a beverage yogurt. And that's what we're going to use to drizzle in this soup. So I don't know if you can hear my, let me turn on the light. I have, the soup pot is a Salad Master pot. Those are really nice. It's really nice cookware. It's an investment type cookware. I'm going to put it in my will. But they have a little opening in the lid with sort of a stopper in it. And when the contents start to boil, that stopper starts to rattle. And I can hear it rattling back there. So that's how I know the soup is cooking. It's boiling. So I've turned it down. All right, so I said I was going to show you the yogurt. I want to get a little pitcher to pour some in. I'll show you the consistency of it. Sorry, I couldn't quite find the one I was looking for. Oh, also, these are starting to get dry. Oh my goodness, they smell so good. These are really nice. But the lime juice is pretty much cooked off, so I can turn this off now. These are ready. If I want to put it back down, I don't want them to burn, and the burner's hot. That's going to be a lovely garnish. So when I make my yogurt, I usually get, so I use the Soya Joy yogurt maker. It's a great big pot. It makes makes almost 2 quarts. It makes maybe 1 3/4 quarts. And I then put the the soy milk into the Instant Pot with a probiotic, like I said, and I usually keep a little starter from the previous batch. Put that in there and leave it overnight. And then in the morning, what I have is this. I call it a pourable yogurt. Maybe I can show you in this, so you can see that how it's really lovely and thick. I don't know if you can see how nice and thick that is. It's if I wanted more of a gel, like pudding type yogurt, like you get with cow's milk yogurt, I could strain it and strain out some of the water. But this is what I love, because I love this on my cereal. We put this on our oatmeal in the morning. It's just a wonderful tangy yogurt. And I'm going to use this to drizzle into the soup as well as put the pitas. And I wish you all were here to have some of this stuff, because it's pretty tasty. So I'm going to take this off. I don't need this hot plate anymore, so I'm going to move it. Okay. And I'm going to plug in the immersion blender. I assume everybody has an immersion blender, but maybe not. I didn't have one until a couple years ago. My sister was visiting. She said, "You don't have an immersion blender?" So this is what it looks like. It's got this piece, which has the blade. This piece has the motor. And you attach them and you plug it in. And then you can immerse it in your pot or your bowl, and it blends. It's not a high-powered blender. It won't break up hard things like nuts or raw vegetables, but it's great for a soup. And then I'll show you. It's got a little button here. It's got two buttons. This is the slower speed and the higher speed. So there, that's what it sounds like. So what I'm going to do now is test the soup and see if these sweet potatoes are done. They are done. Okay, wait a minute. I need a hot pan. Okay, I'm going to take out some of this because I don't want to totally 100% puree it. So I am going to take out some of the soup. Then I can just put that back in. So it'll have a little bit of texture to it. All right, now we'll do this and try not to get it all over the place. Okay, here we go, immersion blend. I think that's good. It's not totally pureed. If I wanted it to be completely creamy, I would use my Vitamix blender. But this one's fine for this soup, I think. Let me get a spoon and I will show you. Well, I have this spoon here. You can see If you can see, there's still some little bits. So there's still some texture to it. So I can put that, put the bigger pieces of sweet potato back in. Awesome. And I'm pretty ready to go. One thing I want to do is taste for salt. So I need a small soup spoon for that. So this was pretty quick to put together. A little bit of cutting up initially, a little bit of sauteing, and then you just mix everything with the broth and boil it and then blend it. Anita says, wish we could help you eat it. You know what I have discovered with my streaming software is that I can add comments to the video. Isn't that fun? Oh my goodness. That is so good. And I don't think it needs salt. So I'm going to go ahead and dish myself up. This is good because I have not had any lunch today. I am going to move the pot so we can add a few things. I want to add some pepitas. They're kind of sinking, but they're going in there. I want to add a drizzle of the yogurt. Again, it's sinking in. And one reason it's sinking in is the soup is not super thick. So it's not thick enough to just, hold all these garnishes, up to the top. Okay, now I'm sorry about this, people, but I have to taste it. I'm sorry. You can't be here. I might put a little more yogurt in it because I love that tang. It's really good. And I just actually bit into the pepitas, which just add a crunch, a spicy crunchiness. I recommend those. And actually, you could put these in salads. You could sprinkle these on top of anything, Last night we had some tacos, and I made, I cut up a lot of cabbage and added some sriracha and things like that. You could sprinkle these on a taco. They are so yummy. Again, you have to find the pepitas, but I really think it would be worth it to make a trip to Whole Foods, because I think that's probably where I got these, and get a big container so you can make your spicy pepitas. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a little more yogurt. Yogurt's not required for this. Yogurt is an extra thing. We're just trying to make it a little bit fancy for you. Really good. Yes, I'm going to enjoy this. So I want to thank people for watching. I am not going to be here next week. I'm going on a trip. I won't be in my kitchen. I can't. I was going to get rid of Anita's comment somehow. I don't know how to get rid of it. There. So I won't be in my kitchen. I won't be able to cook, and I won't have my burner and my pots and my ingredients and my lights and my camera. So it'll be 2 weeks before I'm back again. But I appreciate everybody watching. I really do. And the people that are watching live, and I appreciate it when people watch after the fact. And I hope you get something out of it. I hope you learn that it's easy to cook this way, and it's easy to have delicious plant-based food. So thanks, everybody. Anita says she puts it on her kale salad. Absolutely. You can put them anywhere. So I'm going to end the stream, and again, see you in 2 weeks. Take care.